afternoon, guys. We just met in our social science department, there was some good conversation and dialogue. As you know, anything that you guys can think of with our agenda or anything that are not on the agenda as we get to the end of the school year, feel free to jump in and ask. There's a couple things that Mr. Cushing shared with us that I want to highlight here on the agenda as far as construction projects that are coming up. So the Shannon building, which Kevin and Leah, doesn't affect your room, but we're all here to support Mrs. Carroll here in her 900 classroom, which is the largest of all the art classrooms. They want to, and they is this HVAC company, CMI, wants to get access earlier than the summer project. So the way it was kind of presented to us was that it was a little bit of a surprise that they had requested time during the school year. So kind of the compromise was doing it in the afternoon schedule. Or they were going to work, this company was working afternoon shift. Some of the things that they have already said, examples, if you are working in your room, or you have students in there, you're tutoring, or you're preparing something for the next day, that was a room to be scheduled that day, they're just going to move to the very next room and work around you. They think 4 o'clock is going to be the good start time. Everybody out of the building for the most part at 7, 8, and 9. One of the things that he could not answer, one of the division chairs asked, are they going to start at 900 and work down? Are they going to start at 7 and work up? He didn't know yet that schedule. So the other thing, and I put it down with bullet point B, it's not going to be something that they intend to disrupt the entire classroom. So the old air ventilator is all that they're going to remove. There may be a gap or an opening on the floor that they plan on either putting wood or something to patch it up, so it's safe and secure, okay? What I would suggest, I don't know if you want to note this, you still might want to bring it up to your students in terms of safety feature, if there's this big gap, that's with the shelving, okay? Any questions about, again, that work that's going to start on February 28th?
April 28th.
Excuse me, April 28th. Thank you for the correction. Now, extending with that project, after our last school day, the 21st, we were basically told that the 700, 800, 900 Shannon building is going to become a construction zone. And only authorized school personnel, hard hats and such, Mr. Clinch's crew will be able to access that construction zone. So we were urged several times in this meeting to relay the message to you guys that it's going to be a construction zone. There's going to be a lot of mess. There's going to be, ceiling tiles are going to be taken down, and it's going to be a full classroom project. So any of your personal items, you're advised between now and the 22nd to take home. So I can tell you from my experience, this room was done a couple summers ago, and I was told the same type of thing. I cleaned out as much as I could, but as you can see, like the cabinets there were a few that were kind of cracked open, and it was completely full of dust. So it's going to be a construction project. In fact, when they installed the new ones, they were cleaning several times, and more dust would blow, and they come in and clean again. So it's going to be, the construction aspect of it you're going to see beyond August 1st, which is when we are supposed to have access to it. The other thing I would say from experience is August 1st may be when the construction company's done. I don't know how much time that's going to give our maintenance staff to do things like I don't remember if this room the floor was redone with polyurethane or not. You don't have hardwood in your room, right? Okay, so, but they might not get to what they would normally have as a cleanup, so we can start this school year, okay? The other construction items, were more building wide. Love Gym closed the entire month of May. West Gym, just like they've done in years past, will be closed because that's where they kind of store and house a lot of the construction equipment, so. You guys don't typically practice inside, Leah?
Yeah.
Leah, I think Saturday.
Well, it depends, but we're usually in the cafeteria if it is in the
Gotcha.
summer almost,
Gotcha.
so probably, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kevin with soccer.
No, and I'm assuming it's not gonna disrupt the weight room.
Correct. We were told that the weight room is gonna be fully functional. They're gonna create a safe path in and out of the weight room for all of the summer programs and athletes. Okay? Now, the bigger support question is, do we all need to help Mrs. Carroll, the elder in the art department, in the straightening up and cleaning up of her room?
No, I'm good.
You're good? Please, 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 we are here to help you as much as possible.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I remember, again, doing this a couple summers, daunting task, okay? Although refreshing because it allowed me to go through things and say, I'm not gonna use this again.
It'll be my third time.
It was a cleanup,
Third
third
time.
time.
26 years, yeah. Third time.
When was the most recent?
Was it repainted?
2016. I hope that
Really?
was good. I could run.
What was, refresh my memory, was the project in
They lowered-
16?
They lowered the ceilings.
Oh.
And then before that, it was they put new windows in.
Oh, the new windows, yes, okay. Yeah. So,
3 times now.
you're a seasoned veteran. You don't need our help? But please, ask.
Actually, Leah, didn't you help people back, we're back together?
I feel like I did.
You did.
Yeah.
When did you graduate?
Well, 2012.
So that was one of the
Those
years.
windows.
That was the windows.
Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like.
Cause remember I kept breaking out? And you're like, why do you keep washing your hands? And I kept breaking out from the dust.
From the dust.
Yeah.
There'll be more dust.
Are they planning to get like the bulk of the work completed? That's gonna be the most disruptive element of this project this summer?
So, this building, which we did, was over a 2-year project.
Okay.
I remember a lot of, the invisible things were done the first summer, and then the second summer it was connecting some of the HVAC stuff, and then installing the actual air conditioning units. From what I was told by, someone else in the building, Mr. Bank, what they're putting in the Shannon is a different idea than these, okay? So, because of that, they do think it's only gonna be a 1 summer project, as far as disruptiveness.
And the rooms will have like their heat restored, correct?
That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told. So, it's a good question. It's a good question to ask, because obviously with them removing the ventilators, part of that was over spring break when they did have to cut the power and cut the heat. But that is a good question that I will write down and take back. We have another meeting and construction update.
Until October.
No, I know, but
Oh, yeah.
it's
No,
been
it's
disruptive.
Heat restored.
I would think if it's a unit
Do
that's
you guys have
doing
heat over
both.
there? You do.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. But it's always cold.
I don't know.
You guys-
Yeah, I just
yeah.
think it's because of the circulation
Yeah.
system over there.
From what I understand, what they did over spring break, which is what cut power, is the storage room off of West Gym, there's a gaping hole that they cut the concrete out, like 10 to 12 feet wide by 15 feet long, for
That's
some of
where
that
the-
piping stuff. So, but again, the disruptive question, they believe from this company that it's a 1 summer project. So, next summer.
Will that affect our start date next school year, not this upcoming school year?
We'll still be back August 3rd.
Well, that's what I'm asking, like, are we gonna have back 4 days earlier
Yeah.
to accommodate the construction project?
You're talking about the 26, 27.
Correct.
Yes.
When I asked a similar question, it was, if we wanna get out before Memorial Day, you start there, and you count back 180.
Really?
So that is the goal, is to
Okay.
get out before Memorial Day. That's why we start.
Did we not, I mean, 20 years ago, get
Right.
out before Memorial Day still?
Sometimes we didn't.
Oh, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't remember that either.
I do remember going past Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess maybe with like a 5-day makeup situation.
Yeah.
Those are two great questions on construction. Anybody have anything else on construction, or if you think of something, send it to me. Like I said, I think we're gonna have, we have a regular scheduled meeting in May, with, Mr. Leonard and Mr. DeWalt, but, with us taking back, some of these questions or bringing them to them, we may have another updated question. So if you think of one between now and May 5th, send it to me, text me, or, email, okay? The other items on the agenda, you saw Mr. Leonard's final exam email. Pretty standard like we've done before, any questions on any of the final exam items? Remember, just like we've done before, if you're given a non-traditional form of test, you have to get approval.
Is that approval every year?
Yes, every semester, I believe, especially, for people that have semester elective courses. And I think that's Mr. Leonard, not Mr. Wall.
No.
Oh, yeah, so if you have an alternative project, send that to him, follow, he provided instructions on his email yesterday, just follow those instructions in terms of the communication about getting those approved, otherwise, it's that same common assessment format that we've used, and then the data, okay? Now, the only other thing, and I didn't include this because it's not fully clear yet, how much time on TA day 4 is going to be, because that'll be the day after final exams, how much will be the final exam data analysis portion, but there was also conversation in school improvement about including that part in the discussion, but also some like semester review questions, curriculum-wise, instructionally, that aren't just data, So, again, we know with good instruction data is part of our, assessments and data are part of that instructional practice as well, so. But I believe there might be newer questions than what we've seen in previous years, okay? Remember when we get the form to fill out, that type of format, those questions may change a little bit, okay? So,
Back to the final exams, what is our policy? Say a student is absent for your final exam, and then they contact you at noon that day. Are we supposed to still stick around to provide them with the opportunity to take the exam that very same day? Or do they have to pre-arrange a time to meet with us in the afternoon?
if they send you, an email at noon that, sorry, Mr. Olson, I was gone, would you be available today at 1:30? Yeah, I believe that they want you to make that arrangement.
Okay.
Now, that also, I think they would look at as they didn't make soon enough communication with that. So if you were not in the building, I think they would understand, but they would also ask that you pick another of the days to arrange it.
Okay.
The only other thing, as a third option is, you can give it to Mr. Walt, Mrs. Micus, and they will administer exams over summer as well, okay? So, unless you have that communication, you have an absent student that you're arranging to make that up during the afternoons,
happens
first
frequently.
semester.
Yeah, I feel like I've dealt with that too.
And then at the last minute, they
They just,
contacted like,
yes.
So how did you handle it?
I was able, well, it was never on like the last day, so they were able to do it like the next day or something like that.
Gotcha.
And we like squeezed it in,
Gotcha.
but it is, yeah, it's just like,
It's a possibility, right?
yeah.
And, you know, I would think in that context, Mr. Walt would be understanding and would administer it for you,
Yeah.
you know. As long as you're willing to make those arrangements, as long as you're willing to provide him the materials and things like that, you know, so. Depending on your exam, are you guys doing them online or are you doing them?
mine,
paper pencil?
mine could be administered by anybody.
Okay, you know, so. So, yeah, school year's almost over. Busy times. Is there anything else that I did not include on the agenda that you would like me to share as a question or a concern? We got a couple really good questions about the impact that the air conditioning HVAC will have on the Shannon building.
Is the Canal Street project gonna be wrapped up? Is that gonna cause any further disruptions next school year?
It's gonna go down to one lane soon.
Have they heard anything more about that?
I will ask. It's funny, that's,
Cause that was an
we're
interesting
completing the
start.
cycle.
Past.
You know, back in August, we were talking about construction and driving into the building, you know what I mean? So you're asking about, basically from now until the 22nd, how much is that gonna affect?
Or just as it will, I'm assuming it's gonna be wrapped up at the beginning of next school year, to not disrupt the start of school year. I think that's what the timeline said, but.
Part of the issue was materials.
Oh, was
Materials
it?
were in.
Mhm. Is it going further than what it currently is?
What do you mean?
Like, the elevated section of it, is it
I
gonna
don't know.
extend further?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I know there was an issue with the telephone company. They would remove something that they needed to be removed, so that was all installed. And then some new materials like culverts and stuff. We're not in.
Alrighty, again, between now and the next 3 or 4 weeks, you know, it's gonna go fast, so if you guys, think of anything else,